Good morning. This is Tracy from Getting to Know ACS with
Jasmine.
and Tracy, of course. And today we're going to be talking to Mr. Richard Fairley from our Financial Readiness program. Rich is one of our financial specialists at ACS, and he's going to give us some information about financial readiness. So let's just go ahead and jump in. So, Rich, just in as few words as possible, how give us an overview of what financial readiness is. What's it about?
Okay, so one of the main things here with our financial readiness program is just providing just basic financial education and guidance for our service members, our families, retirees, and even surviving spouses and surviving family members and stuff like that. So just basically to make sure whatever assistance they need, whether it's creating a budget, help with credit, helping understanding home buying, purchasing a car, investing, whatever topics they may want to discuss, we have the expertise for free to help them so they can come get some of this good information that we got.
Okay,
Because people outside would pay me a lot of money to do what I do for soldiers for free.
Well, kind of for free. You're getting paid.
Well, but the soldiers don't pay me directly,
So they're getting the service.
Yes.
Yeah, they're getting the service for free. So, Jasmine, you're new.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you want to know about financial readiness?
So what I didn't know was you actually give advice then. Like somebody can come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this purchase. And you will be like, all right, let's look at the numbers to see if that's a good idea.
Well, and the way I look at things, I'm an educator.
Right.
So my main purpose and my main intent is when I get a client, number one, I want to see where they are. And then we can talk through where you want to go.
Okay.
So once you tell me what you want to do and we evaluate where you are, then I can help you develop a plan to accomplish what you need to accomplish. So, if you're talking about buying a car, I'm just going to ask you some basic questions. Hey, number one, how's your budget? How much extra money do you have available to do it? Considerations on the car, new or used. How's your credit score? So we just go through the different scenarios so I can give you all the education and information so you can make an educated decision. I don't tell people what to do.
So what if I don't have a budget?
Then we're going to help you create one.
Okay, so on the budget, because it's hard for people to follow a budget.
Right.
So when you're looking at putting a budget together, are you like, okay, you're spending too much over here, or you need to quit going out to eat every day? So what is the budget going to consist of?
Well, it actually consists of everything, because one of the key things I find out when I sit down with people to do a budget is we go through, of course, the incomes.
Right.
Then we go through the outcomes, where the money's going. And a lot of times we get down, and one question I would ask them is, how much money do you normally believe that you have left over at the end of the month?
Okay.
And they'll give me a number, and then I show them what our sheet says.
Okay. So were you going to say something, Jasmine?
No.
Okay. So when you do the budget, do you find that a lot of times you get pushback when you're trying to set up a budget with somebody? Do they give you pushback or?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Not too often because, not being funny, I'm not a small guy.
Okay.
So some people, when they talking to me, and between my voice and the way I present myself, sometimes there's a little intimidation factor there.
Okay.
And then a lot of times I'm a retired first sergeant, so they see all my first sergeant stuff behind me, so they like,
oh, you go into first sergeant
let's
mode.
not mess with this guy.
That's what happens. You go into first sergeant mode.
But most of the time, honestly, I don't really have that issue because I'm very empathetic. So I try to put myself in that person's situation, and I try to explain to them not only what I'm advising, but why I'm advising it.
Okay. So moving on from a budget, when you're looking at investing, so can you help somebody decide how they want to invest their money? If they want to be aggressive with their money, if they want to go, the safe route is like, okay, I only want to invest a small amount. Or maybe they have an ideal of where they want to invest, like, okay, I want to invest in this company. Can they come to you and find out your opinion?
Yes. Now, I can't give anybody any specific investment advice.
Right.
But it goes back to the education piece. Let's talk about why you want to invest this way.
Right.
Have you looked at this option to see if it's better for you?
Mm-hmm.
We still go back to the budget, because if you don't have some extra money, you don't have a good emergency fund and a reserve fund, we don't need to be talking about investing. We need to make sure you got your foundation solid first.
Yeah.
But once you build your foundation, we can talk through all the different options, and I just explain the risk levels.
Okay, cool. So what you got for me?
I don't have, like I said, I don't know too much about investments, but I've been learning through, working with you. I guess what would be the biggest tip you would give somebody starting out with investments, right? Like if they're scared because they're like, oh, the market goes down and then you have nothing. And
Well, some of the key tips I would give, I kind of look at life and finances in 3 phases. Number 1 is taking care of current lifestyle.
Right.
Second thing we really need to think about is retirement.
Yeah.
And the reason being because there aren't many jobs that offer a pension now. Retirement is going to be based off the individual. So if that individual doesn't get some type of general understanding that I have to be putting some money into some type of retirement plan and start planting that seed early, then my retirement plan may be a thing called death. Okay, so I just try to educate people, hey, I don't want you to work
Not
till you
that I'm
die.
laughing at death, but
Yeah, so, but then once you get yourself established dealing with your current stuff,
right.
you build your savings so you prepare for the what ifs of life. Because I tell people it's just like this. It's just like hide and seek. It's like trouble sitting behind the tree like ready or not, here I come.
that is
So
very
if
good.
you prepare for it, then it's no big deal. But if you're not, it can be a significant emotional event.
Right.
So if we can get you taken care of on that part, get you started planning for your retirement, because again, right now, jobs don't offer a pension.
Right.
Social Security is not guaranteed to anybody right now. And if people don't start understanding that things have changed and I have to change my thought process with retirement, you're going to find yourself behind the power curve.
Right.
So once you can get those things pretty much on autopilot and get those established, then you can start talking about investments that we don't have to wait till we're retirement age to get.
Okay.
So I try to explain to people all the time, one of the key things is thinking about your money today as fruit. What's your favorite fruit?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No, go ahead. What's your fruit?
Strawberries for me.
Strawberries. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going
I
to use
like
an
that.
apple for example, because
Okay.
most people can relate to an apple. We want to enjoy the apple. We eat the apple, and it's good while we eat it, right? But most consumers, we take that apple and we'll get to the core and we throw away the seed.
Right.
But a farmer take those same seeds, plant them in the ground, which produces more trees. And I try to get them to understand the tree doesn't grow overnight. It takes some time for that tree to grow, but it has to be planted early so it can grow the tree. But once the tree starts producing, it's going to continue to produce more and more and more. And the more time that you have, the better chance you have of producing more fruit, reaping more benefits. So I want people to enjoy the fruit of their labor. But remember that some of that fruit got a seed that you're supposed to be planting somewhere in an asset.
Okay, I like how you explain that. That's a good acronym there. Okay, I
Makes
like
complete
it.
sense
It makes
now.
complete sense. So, how do you your clients that come in? Do they normally know that they're coming in, or are they referred to you guys? I mean, do people come in there voluntarily, or is there initial contact with you because they have to see you?
Both.
Okay.
We do have some clients that just volunteer to see us. We go out and we do a lot of unit training. So once we do our unit trainings, we do that to kind of pique a lot of our soldiers to come in and see us on specific things. But sometimes we do have soldiers, and we deal with chain of commands to let them know, hey, if your soldiers are having issues and you're identifying red flags, you can command refer them to come to see us.
Okay.
So we do have quite a bit of that, and I think that's very important.
So I know you don't do AER.
Okay.
Which AER, for those of you who don't know what AER is Army Emergency Relief. Okay. So do a lot of your clients come to you from AER?
Yes, and it's not that I don't do AER, because sometimes we do assist, and I can help out with AER. But
Right.
it's just not my primary duty. But yes, AER, we work hand in hand. So if AER is working with a client and they're noticing different trends that are going on with that service member or the spouse, or they will refer them over to us.
Okay.
So that way we can they're going to help them.
Right.
but we need to deal with the bigger issue of what's going on with you, so we can help you avoid having to come back and be a repeat borrower.
Okay. So, and for those that don't really know what AER is, we will have someone to come in and speak about AER specific. But in a nutshell, can you give us just a little synopsis of what AER actually is?
Absolutely. And to me, AER is one of the best programs that is provided for our service members and our families. Army Emergency Relief is a nonprofit, but it's soldiers taking care of soldiers. So soldiers contribute, and then when our soldiers find themselves in financial challenges and situations, they're able to come to AER and get that financial assistance. And the reason why it's so important is because, based off the Military Lending Act, financial entities can charge our service members up to 36% interest.
Oh, wow.
So with AER can only help you in 3 ways. It's either going to be an interest-free loan, a grant, or a combination of the two.
Okay.
So if you borrow $2,000, you're going to pay back exactly $2,000 or less. Where if you go outside, you may borrow $2,000, but you end up paying back by $3,400.
Right.
So it's all about helping take care of us taking care of ourselves.
Right.
And there's a lot of categories that AER can assist with. Of course, there's some that we can't. But we try to find a way to say yes, to make sure we're providing the best help for our community, to make sure our service members aren't being taken advantage of somewhere else that's going to kind of just lead them in a cycle where they have to end up always owing somebody else money.
Right. I think that's wonderful because, like you said, I agree with you that AER and Financial Readiness, those are some pivotal programs that are available to the soldiers just because they're free.
Right.
And, people who are in the civilian sector, they have to pay good money for those services. And a lot of times what's happening is that our soldiers don't know that these services are available. And that's one of the reasons why we're here, for you to get to know us. You mentioned earlier, you made a comment about Social Security.
Yes.
So we had that whole freeze where Social Security wasn't being taken out of people's checks, and I think the service members, it wasn't being taken out. If I'm incorrect, let me know.
No, so the whole deferral plan for everybody that was in government, we didn't have an option.
Right.
So they took those funds between August and December. So the soldiers were getting a little extra money during that time frame because they weren't taking that out. But the plan initially was to take that money back between January and April.
Right.
Which honestly, I was very concerned because they were going to take the regular amount and on top of that, add the additional amount. So if a service member was paying $150, they were going to pay another $150 almost for those months.
Right.
So they went back and looked at it and they made a decision to stretch it out over the entire year.
Okay.
So it's not adding so much stress on the service members and the government employees. So I think that was a great thing that they did. To be honest, it kind of evens out because most people have got a pay raise during this time frame and all that stuff. So most people won't really see a huge difference in it, but I was very concerned about that January to April thing. So I'm glad somebody made some decisions to stretch that out.
Yes, thank goodness. So what's up, Jasmine?
I have nothing on that. So I didn't know too much about the Social Security until we had talked last time. So that I was just like, I don't even think people are prepared for that type of, because I thought it was going to be at a chunk, right? Like they were just going to be like, all right, here's taxes, give it, right? Like
give it back to me.
Come on. So
where we were going to, where people were going to end up being in more debt because they were taking it out in one lump sum.
Right.
And I think that was one of the things where you didn't have a choice, Fortunately, we were able to have a choice.
Well, me as a DOD employee, I wasn't given a choice.
Right.
So, some entities did, some didn't. So again, it's just the education piece, and a lot of that, goes back to some of the basic things. It still interests me how many soldiers I talk to, and they're like, "I'm not tracking," and I have to tell them, your LES, all this information is on the bottom of your LES.
Right.
Just take some time and read it. Leaders take some time and read it and explain it to your soldiers.
Right.
So there's a lot of stuff when it comes to finances, it's things that are hidden in plain sight.
Right.
So the information is there. We just don't see it or acknowledge it.
So do you find that, a lot of times I think a lot of our younger soldiers get a bad rap, and maybe rightfully so. But do you find that you also have seniors, soldiers who have been in for a while that also don't know how to invest, and when it comes time for them to retire, they are totally unprepared?
It is interesting that you bring that up, because the trend that I see now, this new generation, they are more willing to take risk
Okay.
than some of the other generations. And part of the reason why is conditioning and education. Prior generations were trained to, the best way I could put it is work, save, and wait.
Okay.
So now these generations are understanding, that's why you have more of an entrepreneur thing. They're willing to step outside the bounds and outside the norm. You have a lot of them that are working gig jobs. So the whole normal conformity of a lot of stuff that, like my generation and prior generations were in,
Right.
new generations, they like, I'm ready.
Because they don't want to work all their life. They
No.
want to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, I want to get my money. I want to go out and I want a vacation. I want to be doing all this.
Right.
Or I don't want to work a 9 to 5 for the rest of my life, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And
So,
with technology, it's easy to see like that's possible, where the
Yes.
generation before, they had nothing to go off. So if you didn't know that was a lifestyle possibility,
right.
right?
And going back to even, and I would say I have more of a challenge now with some of the older people.
Right.
And the reason being, and I tell people this all the time, things have been changing in America over the decades.
Right.
But people's mindset are still stuck in a plan that doesn't work.
Okay.
Like we talked about pensions.
Oh, right.
The fact that most jobs don't offer a pension. Now, if you go back to some people's grandparents, they would go on a job, they'd work it all their adult life. Gold watch, pension.
Right.
So that was one thing they had. 2, Social Security.
Right.
3, they couldn't get debt as easy as everybody can right now, because all of us can go out and get a credit card or whatever we
It
want.
might have
like
40%
this.
interest, but we can get it.
Yeah, but you had some of them that would be married and probably have a child and still be staying in their mama house or their parents' house until they were able to save up enough to do that.
Right.
Then, unfortunately, life expectancy wasn't that long.
Right.
So companies didn't have a problem paying you for a few years.
Uh-huh.
The government didn't have a problem paying you for a few years. And you didn't have a bunch of debt by the time you got to retirement age.
Right.
But fast forward to today, average life expectancy for a male in America is 78.
Right.
Women outlive men by average of 4 years. So I don't know what y'all got going on, but y'all spread the wealth. But people are living longer, so companies couldn't afford to pay somebody who retired at 60 and lived to 80.
Right. 20 years worth of paying.
Right.
Right.
And then Social Security is the whole nother issue, because the baby boomers. And a lot of people they don't understand it. Baby boomers, people were going off the war, they were coming back. Marvin Gaye hadn't sung "Let's Get It On" yet, but that's what was happening. So they were coming back, biggest population growth in America.
Right.
So all those people are retiring now. So they're sucking up all that money and they living forever.
Yeah, they.
So people don't understand that the money that's coming out their check now for Social Security, it's just sustaining those people.
Right.
So that's why they're saying if there's not some reform in the next 10 to 15 years, Social Security will not exist as it does today. So I tell people now, that's why you got to take ownership of your retirement. I talk to people in this concept. I want you to start baking your cake.
Okay.
Now, if you get to retirement and you have your Social Security icing on top of your cake, then your cake is sweeter. But if you don't have the icing, at least you baked your cake.
Okay. At least I got a cake. It might not be as good, but I got a cake.
It's all right.
Had a
So
person.
here's a question. What is a good number? Let's say 18, 19-year-old, right? They're thinking retirement. Because I feel like $1 million seems like a lot. But if you're just living on that retirement, is that really a lot? Or should they, try to aim for more so that they can, have like a number in mind, I guess?
Here's the thing. A lot of people now, they try to push you to think that $1 million mark.
Mm-hmm.
Because believe it or not, that first million is the hardest thing to accomplish. Once you reach 1 million, it's easy to duplicate that. So the younger people is just getting them to understand, number one, start early.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The earlier you start, the more time you have that money to work.
Right.
The more time it works, and the better rate of return you get. So basically, the harder that money's working for you, the less you have to work.
Okay.
So, for instance, I had a young lady come see me this week, 19 years old. Went on deployment, came back, no debt, and saved all her money since she's been in the military.
Oh, wow.
Now, she's doing TSP, but she don't have access to her TSP, which is something I have to deal with every day. So we're taking care of that, but she's like, I want to go buy a car. So we talked through the car piece. We talked through the money, because she's like, I need to put this money to work. And I'm looking at her like, you're 19.
Yep.
I started to call my son and tell him, look,
Hey,
you need to come out here and meet this young lady, because she got her stuff together. So
there you go.
So she's already thinking in that mindset. So she's like, when I come back, she's like, I'm going on leave. When I come back, I want to set another appointment because I want to look at this stuff and I want to get. So at the rate she's going, and with the stuff I'm going to share with her, if she even just does a portion of it, technically she'll be on the path to be a millionaire before she's 35.
Right. So when you have stories like that,
Yes.
how does that make you feel personally to know that you're contributing to this young lady being a millionaire?
For me, that's the main purpose why I even come to work.
Okay.
I will share this. I was at one point a broke soldier.
Okay.
And what happened is my life changed and I got tired of being broke. So I had to take the time out to learn a lot of things that I share and I teach. I had to learn them myself.
Right.
So fortunately, I got to the point where when I retired from the military, it was my choice. If I wanted to work, I could work.
Right.
If I didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, if I'm going to work, I want to position myself to do something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy helping people.
Okay.
So especially me being a soldier all my adult life, if I can help more soldiers understand this, especially at 19 and 20,
Right.
to me, that's like the best feeling in the world. And I feel honestly, that's where my blessing comes from.
Right.
Helping other people is what helps me to achieve and my happiness and me pursue things that I enjoy doing. So they say if you enjoy what you're doing, it's not work.
Right.
Exactly.
So for me, it's like a dream scenario. I get to come in and do something I enjoy doing, helping a population of people that I absolutely love.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Love
that's my passion. That's why I love what I do.
That is, that's one thing about ACS. Most of the people, I will say, I won't say everybody because,
Right.
you're never going to get 100%. But I think most people that work at ACS are very passionate about what they do. And that is why our ACS, I can't speak for all ACSs, but I can speak for Fort Bliss. I believe that's why our ACS is so successful, where you have people at other installations talking about what we do here, because we really do have a group of people who are passionate and who want to help the soldiers and their families.
Right.
We want to help them succeed. We want to make sure that they're set up for success after they leave the service. And with you being in there and the way that you speak about what you're doing and how you love helping the soldiers and stuff, that just speaks volumes, for what is actually going on at ACS.
Yes.
So.
And I think it's huge anyway, and you got to keep focused on this. It's Army Community Service.
There you go.
If you're not
Right.
serving the Army community, you need to find somewhere else to go.
Thank you. Say that again for the people in the back.
It's Army Community Service. You have to serve the Army community.
That's
if
right.
you work in ACS and you got another focus outside of that, that's not the place for you.
Exactly.
Because you got to have a heart for taking care of the service members, the families, the retirees, and those who have made that sacrifice to serve, because everybody doesn't do it.
Thank you, Rich. That's what I'm talking about. So, thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge with us, giving us a little bit of a more view of what financial readiness is all about. So that people can see who they're going to actually be talking to, or hear who they're actually talk to about their finances, and knowing that you're passionate about it. And like you said, you were once a broke soldier, so you can help them get past being that broke soldier. So we truly appreciate you coming on here, speaking with us today. And Jasmine, do you have any closing words you want to say to Rich?
Just the same. Thank you, because I feel like, most people think like you're going to just tell them what to do, but because you're educating, like they could take that even when they get out, or if they choose to go a different route, you know what I mean? So that is a big impact.
Exactly.
Yeah. And before I go to, I just want to touch on this too. Can you help, like if you have a service member who has teenage children, can you help them help their children come up with a plan? Like, can they schedule an appointment with you to sit down and talk to their, maybe their seniors or juniors in high school?
Absolutely. I wish more people would do that.
Okay. So y'all heard it here. Bring your kids.
Yeah. And to be honest, for me, the more of a family dynamic we have, the better it is.
Right.
Like when I have service members come, I love when they come and the spouse comes with them.
Right.
I love when they have teenagers, and then again, I'm about educating. So the more that they learn, then the more they can teach. So it's a cool thing. And even with our Facebook page now, we have a Financial Readiness Facebook page for Fort Bliss. And those are some of the things that I share on there, tips that parents can give to their kids so they can start training them early.
Okay. Dropping a few little gems every now and then, okay?
Because some people aren't like me. I'm a bit of a militant. So, like I got a son that's 20 years old, and during the summers, he thought he was just going to hang out and chill. No, son. Here's your book for the summer.
Get educated.
You need to read this, and you need to understand this, because I'm going to test you.
Yeah.
And if you don't pass my test on the summer, then you're going to have some restrictions on you during the school year.
Say it. Okay.
So, sometimes it's again, we got to change the thought process. We are waiting on somebody else to always teach finances.
Right.
When we need to really learn, even as parents, so that way we can break those generational curses of financial illiteracy and start educating them early so they get an understanding.
So we're going to do something special with our financial. We're going to actually do a giveaway.
Okay.
So we're going to, whoop, whoop.
So excited.
Yes, this is Jasmine's thing. She wants to give away all of ACS.
All the knowledge.
All the knowledge. So we're actually going to give away 2 books that Rich is going to supply to us. Do you know the names yet?
Sure. One book I'm going to give is called Money, Master the Game by Tony Robbins.
Okay.
And another one is going to be The Automatic Millionaire by David Bach.
Okay.
I think those are 2 phenomenal books that give you a full viewprint of a lot of different things.
Okay. So the way that you can win these books is going to be the first 2 people that call into ACS. And because I've worked at ACS for a number of years and I don't know any phone numbers, Jasmine, give them the phone number.
You guys can call me at 915-568-9129.
And just mention that you heard it on the podcast, and we will make sure that you get those books. We'll arrange for you to come through and pick them up. So, again, Rich, thank you for coming out and talking with us, talking financial readiness with us. And this is Tracy.
And Jasmine, don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell so you get notified of our next podcast.
Yep, getting to know ACS. Y'all have a great day.
Yes.
All right, till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.